The forbidden romance of Queen Nzinga, love and power in 17th century Angola. In the 17th century, the land now known as Angola was a mosaic of thriving kingdoms and rich cultures. One of the most formidable kingdoms was Ndongo, where the legendary Queen Nzinga rose to power. Join me as we journey through a time of splendor, shadowed by burgeoning conflict as European powers, particularly the Portuguese, sought to dominate Angola for its rich resources and strategic location. Nzinga Mbande, also known as Ana de Sousa Nzinga Mbande, hailed from the Mbundu people and was a part of the ruling dynasty of the Kingdom of Ndongo. Her ancestry played a significant role in her path to power and her leadership style, deeply rooted in the cultural and political context of her time. Nzinga was born around 1583 to King Ngola Kilwanji and Queen Kangala. The title Ngola later became the root of the word Angola. Her father was the ruler of the Ndongo kingdom during a period of increasing conflict with Portuguese colonists who were expanding their slave trade operations in the region. Nzinga's upbringing in the royal family prepared her for leadership, involving extensive education in diplomacy, military tactics, and the languages and customs of both her people and the Portuguese. The Kingdom of Ndongo, like many African states during the 16th and 17th centuries, found itself increasingly pressured by Portuguese colonizers who were expanding their slave trading operations inland from their base in Luanda. The Portuguese sought to dominate the region, imposing their rule and converting the local population to Christianity, often through force. The Ndongo kingdom resisted these efforts, resulting in frequent military skirmishes and strained relations. Nzinga was deeply involved in the politics and diplomacy of her kingdom. She often represented her brother, King Ngola Mbande, in negotiations with the Portuguese. Her fluency in Portuguese and deep understanding of both cultures made her an invaluable diplomat. During one such negotiation in 1622, Nzinga went to Luanda to negotiate with the Portuguese governor João Correia de Sousa. She famously sat on an equal footing with him by ordering one of her maids to get on all fours and used her back as a seat to avoid being seen as lesser, showcasing her assertiveness and refusal to be demeaned. In the early 1600s, as Portugal intensified its colonization efforts, the Kingdom of Ndongo found itself increasingly under threat. The Portuguese sought to control the lucrative slave trade and the vast mineral wealth of the region, imposing harsh demands on the local populations. Nzinga's rise to power was marked by her brother's struggle to maintain his rule amidst internal dissent and external pressures. According to some accounts, Nzinga's brother, King Ngola Mbande, experienced a decline in influence and possibly died under mysterious circumstances around 1623. There is some historical debate over these events, with suggestions that he may have committed suicide in despair over his inability to effectively resist the Portuguese. Upon her brother's death, Nzinga assumed control of the kingdom. Her ascension was initially as a regent, acting on behalf of her young nephew Kaza, who was the son of her deceased brother. However, her nephew's reign was short-lived, and Nzinga became queen in her own right. Some accounts suggest that she might have been involved in his removal, a claim that underscores the ruthless nature of political power during that era, although these claims are not universally accepted and remain part of the legend surrounding her. Nzinga ascended to the throne in 1624 under the title of Ngola, which meant king in the Kimbundu language. Her rise to power was marked by her bold stance against Portuguese aggression. She became a symbol of resistance, leveraging her diplomatic acumen to forge alliances with neighboring states and even engaging the Portuguese in peace talks. With her kingdom at the brink of invasion, Nzinga's leadership was pivotal. She not only had to navigate the treacherous waters of international diplomacy, but also had to safeguard the heritage and freedom of her people from the encroaching colonial forces. As we delve deeper into her story, we uncover a lesser-known chapter, a clandestine romance that would challenge her convictions in the very essence of her reign. One moonlit evening, the royal court of Ndongo was buzzing with anticipation. Drums throbbed in the cool air, and torches flickered against the night, casting dancing shadows upon ornately carved walls. The palace, a hive of activity, had been meticulously adorned for this grand assembly, where dignitaries and nobles gathered to discuss the future of their kingdom. Amidst the sea of resplendent colours and the hum of whispered negotiations, a hush fell over the crowd as a new figure stepped into the light. This was no ordinary visitor. His presence commanded immediate attention. He was Sifo, a young emissary from a distant land, rumoured to be as wise as he was enigmatic. His attire was less ornate than that of the Mbundu, yet dignified and carefully chosen to represent his people with honour. Sifo came from one of the territories surrounding Ndongo, who had had conflicts with Ndongo in the past because they had also been vying for control of strategic resources and territories with Ndongo. As Sifo began to speak, his voice was both commanding and gentle, resonating through the chamber. His words were carefully chosen, each one delivered with a clarity and passion that captivated his audience. He spoke of peace, of the prosperity that comes from alliances, and of the mutual benefits of understanding and cooperation between his land and Ndongo. As he spoke, Queen Nzinga listened with intrigue and admiration. But it was not just Sifo's eloquence that stroked Queen Nzinga. It was the sincerity that radiated from him. His eyes, as deep as the ocean, did not merely reflect the light, but seemed to glow with a warmth and honesty rarely seen in the chambers of power. His gestures were open and inviting, and his respectful nods to the Queen and her council conveyed his genuine respect for the Ndongo people. The court members, some skeptical and others impressed, exchanged glances and nods in response to Sifo's propositions. As he outlined the possibilities of their combined strength and shared resources, Nzinga found herself more affected than she anticipated. Here stood a man who understood the language of diplomacy and embodied it, his every word underpinned by an earnest desire for peace that aligned with her deepest hopes for her kingdom. Queen Nzinga's face, showing a mix of royal poise and personal vulnerability, at that point, left the audience wondering about the depths of the connection forming under the starlit African sky. The detailed facts of the story are not known as they were not fully documented, but it is rumoured that as the crescent moon casts its silvery glow over the kingdom of Ndongo, and the night came alive with the whispers of leaves and the distant calls of night creatures, a clandestine rendezvous unfolded beneath the sprawling canopy of an ancient baobab tree within the secluded sanctuary of the royal palace's gardens. Here, Queen Nzinga met Sifo, the mysterious emissary. Each meeting was a precious theft from the relentless march of time, a secret shared with the night itself. Cloaked in the anonymity provided by the dim light, they spoke in hushed tones, their words mingling with the soft breezes. This went on for several nights. They shared their visions of a future where peace reigned over their lands and where trade and culture flourished without the shadow of war. Nzinga, with her keen intellect and fierce dedication to her people, spoke of her hopes for independence from colonial powers and the preservation of her kingdom's heritage. Sifo, equally moved by the Queen's passion, shared his own aspirations. His land, too, faced threats both internal and external, and his hope to forge strong alliances resonated with Nzinga's goals. Their discussions were rich with the promise of mutual support and a shared destiny. building a bridge of understanding and respect. With each stolen moment, their bond deepened as they shared dreams of a peaceful future. But their love was a dangerous one, forbidden by political alliances and royal duties. Amidst the whispered plans and shared confidences, the weight of their reality loomed large. Their union, both personal and political, was fraught with peril. Royal duties and political alliances formed a web of expectations and obligations that neither could easily escape. As word of their secret rendezvous spread, tensions rose within the kingdom. Nzinga faced a painful choice between her duty to her people and her love for Sifo. Their romance, now more perilous, threatened the fragile peace she had fought so hard to maintain. For Nzinga, the implications were profound. A romance with a foreign diplomat could undermine her authority and jeopardize her kingdom's precarious stability. For Sifo, his loyalty to his own land might be called into question, his motives scrutinized and doubted. Realizing the potential consequences of their love, Nzinga made a heart-wrenching decision. She decided to end their romance to protect her kingdom. In a tearful farewell, she told Sifo that their love will forever remain in her heart, even if they must part ways. As they parted ways for the night, the air seemed to hold their lingering regrets and unspoken fears. With each step back to their separate worlds, the rustle of the leaves seemed to echo their silent pledge to each other, a pledge of hearts entwined by dreams of peace, yet ensnared by the thorns of duty. Years passed, and Queen Nzinga continued her relentless fight for her people's freedom, her spirit unbroken but softened by the memories of her lost love, her legacy, a blend of strength and compassion, inspired not only her warriors, but also generations to come. And so, the story of Queen Nzinga, a tale of love intertwined with duty, reminds us that the heart of a leader is both a place of sacrifice and a source of immense strength. While her romance with Sifo was forbidden, it taught her the power of love, shaping her into the legendary figure we admire today.